Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another GT7 build. This time we're going to go for the 800pp Nissan GTR GT500 from 2008. So this will be the last Group 2 build for a while. I'll go and then focus on some of the more kind of weird and wacky builds you might not know about in terms of, grinding money or just having fun within the game. So props to you guys that can just run the same car 500 plus times to, buy all the other cars. But honestly, I think in the end I'd probably just end up brain dead. So that's exactly why I do the build videos. So if you want to buy this car for yourself, it's the Nissan GTR GT500 from 2008. It's from the Nissan dealer and comes in at 1 million credits, around about 200,000 more than the regular. However, I'd say I more gravitate towards this one over the cheaper alternative, which is the more modern version. I feel like I've just not quite got comfortable with that car in terms of the current update that we're running, which is update 1.27. So let's get into the build. We are going to run this a completely different way to how we used to. It used to be a zero stop car, but we're going to run the mediums for Sardinia. But if you want to know, you can run this at Spa. All you need to do is put hard tyres on and just kind of readjust to your liking. So we're going to have a body height of 55 and 75 with the anti-roll bar set at 4 and 7. Compression is going to be 32 and 36 with expansion being 40 and 45. Natural frequency is 425 and 440 with a negative camber angle of 1.5 and 2.5. Toe angle at the front is 0 with 0.10 I believe outwards or inwards at the rear. Initial torque is going to be set to 5 with the acceleration sensitivity set to 25. Braking sensitivity is 5 again, and we do have the fully customizable racing transmission installed on this car. I've got my gears set to 260. If you want to extend them, feel free. It's more down to your personal preference. No ballast and no power limiting with this build. And what you are going to notice is we do have pretty much maximum downforce on this. So at the front of the car it is 600. Then if we go over to the rear, it's going to be at its maximum again at 850. Nothing else needs changing. There's obviously no turbo with this build, and yeah, it will sit at just under 800 performance points. So originally this used to be a zero stop build. When I originally covered the Group 2 cars, I found that this was probably the weakest of the bunch, in all honesty. However, I feel like with this new build, it's definitely one of my personal favourites. I really actually enjoy driving it, and that's the main thing. You can be as fast as you want, but a lot of the time you're just not going to enjoy the experience. A lot of people seem to gravitate towards the Red Bull build that I did, but personally I just haven't used it in the longest time because it kind of just gets really kind of boring. For me, it's all about the driving experience. If the driving's not fun, then the game's not fun, and then you'll just get bored and give up grinding full stop. The Escudo, I've absolutely used it to death, so I kind of took a break from that, hence why I'm kind of earning my money for the next update in, well, different ways. So this car is very kind on its tyres, it's decent on its fuel, and it can be driven very, very much on the edge by, well, almost anyone, to be quite honest. So let's take you through the strategy. Obviously we're running mediums here, whereas the previous builds I believe were all on hard tyres. You're going to notice as well we're not going to absolutely turn the engine down. In fact, we're going to leave it at its maximum power. All you want to do really is essentially turn this into a two-stop strategy. I feel this car, once you start turning the power down and stuff, just becomes a little bit of a sluggish car. But with the power turned up, the medium tyres on, you'll notice it's, well, just a bit of a grip machine. It's really, really fun to just throw through the corners, and you're going to notice that, well, drivability wise, I think pretty much anyone could drive this thing. And that's really the plus side of these builds. I try and cater them to as many players as I possibly can, not just to, the least amount of players. There's a lot of people out there that might not enjoy certain builds. I had that with the M2 competition, where I made it very, very fast and less about downforce, and people just didn't really like it. So I've kind of noticed that people want more grip and kind of, make it more drivable overall. And I feel like I've kind of achieved that with this car. You're all going to have your own opinion on what your favourite build is, and I'm just here to give you a pointer in the direction to cars you might not have even thought about or might not have even tried yet. To be honest, in terms of the Gran Turismo grind, it's a bit of a long one, and I guess that's a bit of an understatement. It drags on forever, and I feel like the best way to keep it fresh, especially with the lack of different events, is to, well, you know, use different cars, and that's kind of where I come into play, giving you as many different varied builds as possible. So overall, I would recommend running it on normal difficulty. Don't run it on easy, you'll run into far too much traffic. To be honest, it absolutely kills your overall lap times by even a couple of seconds, just by slightly being stuck behind them. Now, you will probably take the lead around about lap 2, lap 3, I'd say tops, if you're, not a confident driver. In all honesty, it's going to be very easy to take the lead off of the AI. You're going to do your first pit stop at the end of lap 5 going on to 6. You want to put another set of mediums on. Whilst there's not really a drop off in performance, you don't want to kind of, be hung out to dry and round about lap 8 your tyres just drop off and you're sort of spinning everywhere and it'll absolutely destroy your overall time. So you're going to take a new set of mediums. You want to fill the car to full because we are going to have to make another pit stop. Now, I did actually make a bit of a mistake during this, this run, I guess. I turned the engine down thinking that, it might be easier just to save a bit more fuel. Yeah, that kind of backfired. Personally, I'd just keep it a fuel mix 1 and just pit as you need to. It should be realistically every 5 laps. So here you go. Look, this is where I turned the engine down and made that bit of a mistake, trying to essentially just extend my run. To be honest, it just cost me more time than it would to just do the pit stop earlier. So yeah, just don't make that mistake. Pit at the end of lap 10, not at the end of lap 11. So again, you are then going to just essentially rinse and repeat, put another set of mediums on, fill the car to full. I would pretty much ignore the notch. Sometimes it's way off, sometimes it's accurate, and to be honest, it's not worth taking the risk. If you want to be more specific, I'd say just fill, just over it, and that'll ensure you usually have enough fuel. For me personally, I'm just a bit lazy. I'll let the car do what it does. I usually check my phone kind of in between pit stops and stuff. It kind of takes away from what can be a bit of a monotonous grind if you're constantly doing it over and over again. So here we go, you're just going to essentially sprint to the end of it. So I'll take you on board for my fastest lap. My fastest lap in this race came on lap 14. As you can see, we've got the engine turned up to full. We already have a fastest of 136.764. I would probably say it's possible to get low 36s, low 35, high 35s if you don't really get caught in traffic. As you can see, I'm just going to run into a few of them on my way through my fastest lap. Again, it's all about kind of ensuring your tyres are at the perfect sort of, part of their tyre life. So yeah, we did get a 136, I believe, kind of mid to low with this one. I can't quite remember exactly, but as you can see, the main thing you're going to look out for is your markers. You brake just after the 50 for this one. I would actually recommend going more inside, but obviously with the AI kind of being there, I don't want to run into the back of them and take damage, because that's probably one of the worst things you can do. You never really had to used to, really worry about the damage, but there is a more noticeable effect, for the last few months really. If you do take damage when kind of grinding money and stuff, you'll notice that the car just kind of does what it wants to do. So yeah, sadly on our fastest lap we did get caught in a ton of traffic. As you can see, we've spent the majority of the lap realistically just kind of stuck behind everybody. So we're 3 tenths down by the time we come through the sector, but somehow we managed to make it up. So again, the main thing you really want to look out for is kind of the 150 boards. Once you kind of learn where the brakes are at and how quick you stop, you'll kind of adjust it and push it more and more, so your lap times will just begin to plummet. If you ran Sardinia enough times, you'll realistically already naturally have a feeling of where to put your brakes on and such. So there we go, we're going to go across the line with a 136.696. So lap 15, final lap, we're going to pull out the slipstream of the Aston Martin and cross the line, and it's pretty much job done. Now obviously I did make a few silly mistakes, like hanging myself out on tyres, and a couple of times where I might have accidentally ran into the back of the AI, my bad. But yeah, it does kind of affect your overall time, so it'll be interesting to see. So we did a 25:34.246 with a fastest lap of a 136.696. Now I think without kind of hanging myself out on those tyres and hitting the AI, you probably easily get this in the 24 minutes, no issues really. So in terms of your payout, it's going to be the usual 800 pp Sardinia, 727,500, and we've got a nice little 4-star roulette ticket at the end there. Yes, you can run this build at Spa. I'd recommend just kind of playing around with the gear ratios. Obviously, I would recommend usually running the hard tires at the Spa 800 event, so that does give you kind of more room to essentially add more power, you know, and kind of adjust the settings to your liking. So that is completely up to you where you want to run it. This one is mainly set up for Sardinia itself. So that's going to be it for this build. Let me know what you think. I'm also taking recommendations. If you have any weird and wacky cars you want me to try out, I'm more than happy to give them a go. One thing to note though is if I've already covered it, I'm not then going to kind of redo it if it's kind of a more recent build. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Go down in the description for my Twitter, my Discord, my donation link, and my sponsor for today's video, the Controller People. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.